Okay.
All right.
Now you have to, everybody has to click the thing, got it,
Got it?
on the screen.
I don't.
Didn't come up for
I'm
me.
good.
Okay, then never mind, then it's not a problem.
Everybody got it. Okay.
Okay.
So then I'll say it again a little bit that I clarifying certain things that we said in the last Zoom, that I was not clear that I was truly understood because maybe I didn't express it correctly, or I would like to do it a little bit more in order to make sure that it's not an interpretation, that it's not what it's not. So we said before that through the connections, like let's say, for example, through the inner outer mandala, when we are in a space from infinity or from heaven, if you're coming from the heaven release, as you're open the radius of the circle of the mandala, you are connecting to different centers through the motion. And therefore, through the upper section from expansion up, as you're opening the mandala, for example, you get to touch the center of the head, the center of the throat, the center of the chest when you get to expansion. And when you're descending from expansion to navigation, you have the choice, and they are equal value, that you can go, okay, this is the solar plexus as you're descending to expansion. No, this is the chest, this is the solar plexus, this is the crown as you're descending to crown. Or you could say, as you're descending from expansion down, that is the throat, that is the head, that is the crown. So you can go up and down at either direction that you want, and you will be always be touching the centers through the description of the mandala or the description of any movement. You're always opening, the seven centers are always open it, because that is your relation to the sphere of life and the center of space. But then through the movement, you are activate a specific centers through each connection. And then through the path of balance that connect each connection, you get to touch through the path all the different centers as they are related as one, all continuous. You're always inside of the seven centers, even though they can become actualized by expansion, for example, in the chest, by infinity in the solar plexus, by heaven in the back of the thoracic vertebra, by central crown and the top of the head, and actually the right and the left. You know, each connection has its own centering, but then through the path of balance, you're always activating all the other centers. And you can begin to perceive that, you know, if you want to. But it's good, the perception of it, because then your mind said, okay, in this area, from infinity, I'm touching the center of my head. Oh, I see. So the center, once you touch through the plane and space, the center of your head, your mind naturally becomes the elongation of the center of the head. So the elongation becomes nothing other than your awareness. It's not like, okay, now I have to extend more. It's just the centralization becomes the natural elongation of the movement as your awareness touches in space. So you are aware that that is occurring. If you want to, if you don't want to forget the whole thing, just go through the motion. But if you want to, it's wonderful, because then what happens is that in any moment, once you activate each center, they become more alive in your experience and add to a degree of consciousness in you. So I wanted to make clear that, yeah, more or less, are we good? Yep. Then I said something, I did an example that, let's say crown is in a specific place in a space. I told to Elaine, crowns is in a specific place in a space. It's not higher than the specific place in a space. And I said that if it goes higher in crown, then what happens is that I am going in the back of my shoulders and the back of my neck. But what it became confusion is that if I'm going to go higher than crown, and my inner arc has to change. So I will be in another place in a space. And if I am in another place in a space, then I will not be losing the seven centers. So the only reason that I lose the seven centers is because I'm not coordinated the gesture, which is actually my eyes view, and either I am in the outer arc, in the vertical or the inner arc. Once I'm coordinated, the reason that as I said to you, that you're only in crown in one place, because crown represents mandala crown, for example, it is in a slight inner arc that your eyes are directed down toward foundation. You are not in crown as in a vertical extension. And then if the arms, instead of being in crown, that correspond to the crown, right? Crown in the arms, crown in the head. The arm, if it goes a little bit higher, then if you don't change the entire gesture from above, that is when the movement becomes innocently contracted, and you're losing the fabric of life. So in every single connection, as you begin to understand the connection, it corresponds to a specific level, in a specific gesture of your eyes, your head, where you are in a space, because it's the union of yourself that manifests that inner sensation of wholeness within you. Yeah, all the connections of unity and motion are all the sensations of yourself. Even though we call it infinity, we call it expansion, we call it central ground, we call it moving heart, they are all expressions of your being. So we call it connections because it represents the connection to the whole field, which is the sphere and the fountain. Yeah, but also we could call it gestures. Originally in the past, we used to call it stations. Remember Carolina at the beginning? Then gestures. And the reason that I said gesture, because it's not robotic. It has a specific feeling and a specific intention that you discover it in yourself as you become more synchronized between the three senses, between the spatial relationship, between the energetic field, and the structural centering of the body. When those three formations, the structure, the energy, and the spatial relationship come into being, yourself appear. And when yourself appear, in the beginning, it's a little bit spooky, only because all of a sudden, you get to be the witness of your own unity. And that is a trip, because the self and the reality that we are, it's always trying to catch up with everything, going everywhere, blah, 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 always doing. And very rarely time that we get to understand, I am inside of unity, because it's a specific feeling. Being inside of unity is exactly the same as being inside of the movement of all things or inside of life itself. So it's like you really become actually present. But it's a different kind of a present, because it's a present with everything. It's not just me present. Yeah, it's not robotic. Here I am. Or in a meditational state. It's actually the reality of communion with all things. So as all the gestures become gestures, connections, and now I call it gestures for today, in order to clarify that every connection has its own feeling, his own gestures that come as a consequence of a structural centering, your centralization of 3 dimensions, the energy that expresses, and then your relationship to space. When those 3 things come together, then yourself appears and you become the witness of your own unity. Yeah, and that's ourselves. I'm sure that you have gone through that experience. I know that every time that you get, I feel today that I'm fluid and everything is together, it's energetic and everything, where you're really saying, I get to experience myself, even though we name it as something a little bit special, like, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling fluid, I'm feeling wonderful. But if you begin to really associate that with yourself, it helps you, because your mind is going to begin more and more and more to give you all the reflexes that correspond to yourself in a constant form, and not at certain moments in life or certain moments in which you get to feel that. Remember that yourself is the only thing in life that is constant, because it's the same as life. It's the same as everything. And it was created. We were created to be with life itself and be inside of consciousness. So we are the constant that we call eternity, We are the constant that we call life. We are the constant that we call everything, that it is not transitory. The self in yourself is the only thing that is not transitory. That's the reason we said it's eternal. Yeah. So to understand that and experience that, it's a fantastic thing, because then you get to understand you're always being and it always will be, and that's it. You're no longer going to be afraid or thinking what's happening after death, is life thereafter, all that disappear, because all that was created inside of the innocent separation from the eternal reality that is the connection to life. The connection to life is a very specific physiological reality. It's not up in, it's not spooky, it's not metaphysical, it's the reality itself. So that's the reason that it's nice to understand it, because then as we become more and more connection to the eternal, into life itself, then what happens is that we get to be here. And being here is the most divine thing they could ever imagine, because the very reality of being here was created for us millions and millions of years ago, in order for us in this moment to be able to recognize that gift completely. And therefore, take the whole of humanity, the whole world, the whole of nature, all together more and more and more, moving with existence instead of moving in a specific dimension that we have been moving in the planet Earth. Because the dimension that we have moving in the planet Earth, you can see, it's pretty fucked up. Excuse me the word. No, I'm sorry, I'm kidding you. It's pretty confused a little bit, right? Because we are still fighting, we're still going as we are in war, blah, 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 1,000 things. But all those things are really actually the resolution of a consciousness that forever has been enclosed inside of a Groundhog Day of time, in which we're repeating ourselves over and over and over and over, searching to find a way out. Now, the way out and the way in became simultaneous. So we are out and we are in and we are with it. Yeah, out, in, with it. So it's fantastic. So anyway, clarifying a little bit that, it's okay? Yeah, clarifying the connections. Yeah, Mary Pat, yeah, I'm sorry. Then.
Just show the difference in the eyes from crown and mandala crown, because
the difference in the eye from crown and mandala crown. Okay,
yeah.
So crown is I have to go back a little bit to show me, or I can do it here. I don't know if you can see it.
No, you're gonna have or do you want to do that now, or do you want to do it when he starts doing?
When we can do it. Okay, I'll do it today. We'll do it when we stand up a little bit, or I can do it seated, but I have to bring myself back.
Yeah.
The only complexity that I have to tell you. Yeah, go ahead, darling. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to really see the difference. That's
yeah, to see what that is, the difference of it.
Yeah.
So, I know but I want you to understand that when you change the range of vision, and you are, heaven is different than central crown, is different than heaven, right? And different than, excuse me, infinity is different than central crown, different than heaven, right? They're all different expressions of different planes that you're connecting. And those planes are releasing certain areas within the spine, because it is the engagement of the energy of the spine moving to the crown, to the higher centers, for lack of a better word. Remember, we don't like the words higher or lower because they are all one. But anyway, it is just a connection of that. So I'm gonna show you that a little bit in a moment when we get up. But I need to tell you also, it's a little bit complex, the camera, because the camera, according to where it's being placed, it distorts a little bit where you are in a space. You're aware of that, right? It's complex in that sense, because when I see you, I know where you are from all dimensions, but it's going to be complex, because if the camera being here, it is a little bit here, you will see me different than it is in here. You see, whenever the camera is placed, it will determine different angles in which you see myself from, you see me from.
Yeah.
So it's not a perfect medium, but it's helpful. But I want you to understand that it's complex in that sense. So anyway, I would like to, before we start, I would like to work in the free releases again, the spirals again today, a little bit more into whatever. But I would like to, if it's possible, to take you just more, maybe for 5 minutes or maybe 3 minutes to the side, because I want to show you something. Okay, so Elena, can you guide me a
Yeah,
little bit?
Go to share your screen.
Share screen as always, yes. Fantastic.
And
And
then
then share
share again.
again.
Okay.
And now here I go into that one here.
Yeah.
And now here I just Unity in motion. Did I do it? Yeah, right here. So meetings. And then I want to take you, today I went to the meetings, I went to the blogs like half an hour before waiting for the class. And I love it because I was trying to figure it out, where are all the connections, because we have the 19 connections in the blogs, so, and here in the first 3 triads, we have 9 of them. And then the 4th triad, which is the 4th dimension, we have 3. And then we have, in the 5th triad, we have the other 3, which are 18. And no, they are 15. And then we have 3 and number 6, which is the fulfilling of the 3 senses of self, which are the 3 releases. And then we have 19, which is in 0-point balance, which is going into all these 5 triads. Yeah. So I want you to continue with and watching this, because it's every time that you're going to watch it, you're going to learn something else, or you're going to have a question. And remember that all the questions are going to be accompanied by an answer in you. And if the question for a particular reason doesn't show up as an answer, ask me, because I will be able to tell you. And then once you feel all the questions in your mind, you are repairing the symbology of the mental world, because then you begin to understand certain aspects of its own wholeness that they will help you enormously. So I'm going to go just momentarily from the first triad, and then I'm going to show you something that we are here. And if we are I don't know if you're in front of the computer, I think you are, because you're watching me. Yeah, here we are. This one is just going to go a little bit larger. So anyway, remember that I said they are gestures for now, and I don't know if it is okay to call it gestures, because it's not even that. It's are really connections to yourself and to the sphere of life and the fountain of life. But when the word gesture, sometimes it's good, because you get, when you ask gestures, when you use the word gesture, you have to add meaning to it. And then when you add meaning to it, you are having more close approximation to yourself then, because the meaning, it will show up in relation to a structure, energy, and space as being the actual sensation of yourself, which I said, and yourself is the meaning of life. What I call myself is the meaning, the entire meaning of life, because I'm one with life. And I was created to be able to understand the meaning of my own existence, and the meaning of all things, and the meaning of life inside of the natural design called human. That's the reason we said inside of the history of human that we were created in the image and the likeness of our creator. That's what we said originally. And that's the truth as we begin to understand that was so. So anyway, this one right here, which says central crown, has a specific meaning. And that's the one that we'll explore when we do the fountain of life. The fountain of life has the first connection from 0 point, as you touch God's heart, which is a moving connection, you get to central crown. And then from then you get to moving heart, and then you get to central crown again, and then you get to self, and so on and on and on. But this is the gesture that correspond to the connection, the first connection that we touch in the fountain of life, from 0 point. So if what I want you to begin to experience is, okay, what is the meaning of this inside of my own sensation? So if you begin to span a few seconds with each connection, and describing then physiologically, there is the center, energetically, there is the whole of you, and then especially, there is the relationship of 3 dimensions. Whatever your mind will bring you, it will bring you to it. And it will help you to add the meaning of that particular connection as it corresponds to yourself. Yeah, even though in this particular Zoom, they have the first 9 connections, you have the meaning of all of them. But I don't know if you read them, if you memorize them, if you know them by memory or anything, it doesn't matter. But it is, the more you give meaning to something, the more the meaning gives meaning to you. Everything, that's what it is. Remember we said in the Garden of Eden, everything that we saw, it was divine and perfect because we saw ourselves and everything. And then when we separated for every reason from the garden and inside of the story, we have to discover the meaning of everything. And that's what we did. That's been the voyage of our humanity. Discover the meaning.
I have a question.
Yes,
and I'm trying to think, and maybe it's just my background with that term gesture.
Yes.
But gesture seems to me something you do and not something that you are.
Yes.
It doesn't seem as whole as maybe connection but I mean, I understand where you're coming from with it. I like the idea of station because it's something you pass through, but I don't.
Yeah, it's only the only reason that you know, if it doesn't work for you in any way, just erase it completely. Don't use it. I mean, I don't want you to use it. The reason that I said gesture is because when we use the word connection, you can say, okay, connection to what? I mean, of course, the connection to the sphere, the connection to the fountain, the connection to yourself.
The connection to the centers, the connection to
many,
all
exactly. But the gesture will become then, when I use the word gestures, this is the first time that I used that word for a long time. I never used it.
Yeah.
I said the gesture that correspond to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, because a connection it means a connection to something, relation to 3 dimensions, a relation to the center, a relation to the fountain. Mm-hmm. But what about a relation to myself? Mm-hmm. So then I don't know, maybe that's not the right word, but if it does, as I said, forget it as well.
No, I mean, I'm just interested in your, understanding of it.
For myself, is when I say to myself, okay, what is the gesture of self, for example, for me? And it becomes so, what is this thing called self? What is this gesture that I know mechanically? I said, okay, it's the balance, the center of a space, the centralization of all the centers of my being, the connection of my energy, the connection to the sphere of life. But what is in me that gesture? Who am I in the moment that I am the self? You know what I mean? So it becomes, or when I said central crown, which is the connection to the higher spheres of my mind, the connection to everything from the perspective of the crown, the moment itself. Because remember, the first 3 connections is actually the moment of communion of the fountain of life. And the fountain of life is something that is happening constantly before I am aware, before I make something, before it is the existence itself. And then from that existence, in the plane that we are as humans, we give meaning and we say, oh, there is a thought, there is a feeling, there is an action. I think about this, I feel that. I go into an interpretation of that existence. But the fountain of life is not that. It is actually the source of my being. It's simultaneous with my being, but it's the source of my being because it is the fountain of life. The fountain of life. Remember? So it's important because, as I said earlier before, life has become objectified in our human lives. So we all think about life like an objectification. Oh, my life is good, it's bad, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes we bypass it. Life is the most, I cannot even have words. It's the miracle. It's the miracle of existence. Because life is the source of your being. Without life, I wouldn't be conscious of anything. I wouldn't see anything. I wouldn't feel anything. Kaput, black. So the whole idea of life, it is the miracle that we were given as we were born through our mother and father. And as I said, the connection had never been lost. When we form, our being takes the form inside of the transparency of design called human. when my being inside of my mother's womb from my mother and my father took form inside of the design of human, I erased and became conscious of being alive. I was always alive, but then perhaps as a child, was a moment that the person who brought me into life smacked me in my butt and I started crying. And then here I am in the physical world, everything, you know? So anyway, life, it is the most amazing, divine, incredible, fantastic phenomena. And when we innocently, for any particular reason, are not conscious of that phenomenon, that's when we innocently become enrolled in dramatic situation of our human's heart or our mental partial awareness or physical self. And then we try to do the best it can inside of those fields, but then sometimes we bypass the very magical nature, which is life itself. Yeah. So the fountain of life. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't want to interrupt you there.
No, darling, please don't. Don't you think? Yeah.
I think Ellen's question about gesture, I can see where you're coming from with that, and when I think of it in that way, I see that it can be more like a personal thing. But now when I'm hearing you describe life and our being here with life, maybe that word gesture, or what we've thought of as gesture before, becomes incorporated in the whole. So the self, the me, is still present in the whole. And in that way, the gesture isn't personal. It is and it isn't. It's blended in with the whole sense of the inner and the outer and the center.
Yeah.
Yeah. In one of our classes, you used the term marking, so when you were learning and you would stay in this position, I think it was marking.
Yes. Yeah. Marking, it meant that when we said before, that remember there was a time that we said there is a nice thing for you to do the 19 connections when you start practicing, heaven, infinity, central crown, heaven, infinity, moon, horizon, suspended diamond, sun, expansion, moving heart, cell, central crown, delicate heart, foundation, crown, and earth, foundation and crown, and then the free release it. So marking means that you get to approximate in your mind the partial definition of all those connections. And I said partial because heaven can only be defined in its perfection or as a natural sense from expansion. You can only get to heaven from expansion because that's the only place that you can get to. You can get to not maintain, because it's not the word. It's the only way that you can really actually do not disturb the fabric of life that you are constantly bringing into being through the practice. The practice is a connection that synchronizes all the centers, synchronizes all the energy, synchronizes the plane of space to unify the fabric of life, which is actually your physical body. Which is, then you can, if you want it, you don't even have to think about it physical, the whole of your being, yourself. So you can only get to heaven from expansion, encircling heaven, encircling the heart. And you can only get to heaven from horizon to come back to heaven, yes? And then in all the connections, when we no longer mark, when we're actually describing in a space inside of their own unity, inside of the whole fabric unity of the metrics, we can only get to those connections in a specific way. And the reason that we say we can only is because that's the only, that is the design of the practice, is to always maintain is not the word, encourage, reveal, bring into the union of the fabric. So the union of the fabric becomes what it is, my natural state of self, my natural state. So then all day long, whatever you are, you're always inside of the fabric of life, because the fabric of life is actually your connection to the moment and your connection to self. Yeah, the fabric of life being the whole design. Yeah, does it answer a little bit? But yeah, do you understand? I'm all of a sudden I'm going too long into all this, but I wanted to not to occupy your time in so much explanation today. But anyway, let me clarify it again one more time, that we don't have to use the word gesture, but then use the word self. Then that would help you as well, you know. But even self sounds like a little bit like I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know why today I am waking with the thought that, especially when I hear the audio, and I said that in any place that you are in a space correspond to, especially in ground, there is in a specific place, and it cannot be above or it cannot be below. And then if it is above, it connects to other areas of the skeleton, but that other areas of the skeleton that you are activating by being in that particular point in a space is actually the natural unification of the movement of your whole self. And in the movement of your whole body, of your whole self, it always gets actualized, if you may, by a specific, let me see, what would be a very difficult word to bring it into, by a specific instant that correspond to the natural experience of your life. Then a specific instant that correspond to the natural experience of your life. So if somebody were to be witness my life, they will tell me that I'm, the 24 hours of the day, I'm doing different gestures every single instant. Because I'm always pressing, oh, the flower, oh, and that, oh, I'm eating, I'm going there. Every single moment there is something that I'm doing in my living. And we can say that is the gesture of my life. And the gesture of my life has meaning in relation to my consciousness, you know, in the sense that I do things, for example, in my life, in Unity in Motion, everything that you're going to do in your life, it always will be creative. It always will be beautiful. It always will be wonderful, because that is the natural manifestation of yourself in the reality of life. And that's it, period. It's not philosophical. It's not that you're going to be a good person and you're going to be loved, because in the moment you enter that world, then the gesture becomes a crystallization of your own confusion. Yeah, that's the reason that we don't like the word gestures. Because, you know, in the saint, you know, in the religion, the beatification, and the church and all that, it created enormous confusion, because we thought that our relationship to everything was a form of prayer. And prayer doesn't exist in life. Life is the prayer, but prayer doesn't exist in life. Because life is the fulfillment of the prayer. God is the fulfillment of the prayer. It's not the separated between the prayer and the giving. So we entered another conversation with this, but it's important. Yeah, you understand that this is very important, because this is your practice. And the moment that you decided, okay, what is this, and what is this, and what is this, and what is this, and you begin to feel what that is in you, then you recognize that the external, it will give it to you as well. Expansion will give it to you. Central ground will give it to you. Infinity will come inside of you. Moving heart, it will come inside of you. So you will get quicker, if you may, into the actual fulfillment of the practice, but actually the fulfillment of the natural blessing that is your being, the fulfillment blessing of your being. So the practice of Unity in Motion is, it can be conceptual, it can be emotional, it can be physical, but above all is really actually your natural connection to yourself and life, until the moment it disappears completely into your life. It will disappear. But then when it disappears into your life, if for any particular reason for any particular reason, for any situation, you have an emotional, I don't know what the word is, an emotional outburst that contracts you into something, a mental confusion that all of a sudden you get up and you don't feel good, or a physical reality that you get up and you did something that produces some problem in your back, you have the practice. So in the moment that you enter the practice, you will put the three bodies into one, and that's it. You will be the perfect healer for any particular complexity that exists in your life. You don't need anything else, because the three senses of your being will always assist you to bring you to 0 point, which is the natural engagement of yourself with the moment of life, period. Yeah. So that's the reason. So as it is right now, let's forget the word. Let's leave it for another time. Think about it and tell me, what do you think about gesture?
Yeah, no, it sounds great. I mean, it sounds.
No. I really would like to. The most important thing that now is time, as we're becoming more connected to the reality of unity and motion altogether, I depended on you as well, because it is important to understand that me being the one that I take in the form of a teacher, if you may, or whatever, I'm not really actually forming dogma or forming belief again, because that would be the most ridiculous. You will cover life again with a gesture that corresponds to the separation of its own unity. That's what dogma is, right? Something that it becomes fixated from the reality itself, and it becomes a belief. And the belief is always based in something wrong. Something did wrong, something did that, and I cannot have it in this moment, but I will have it later. So the unity in motion and, the reality itself of the fountain of life is that we are the thing itself, period. Yeah? Okay, so are we good?
Yeah.
Are we good? Yeah, all right. It's very delicate when we
We're
talk
very
about,
good.
right? I'm sorry?
We're all very good. We're
Yeah,
all
very good. Yeah, it's very delicate when we're talking about it, because we are discussing what's the purpose. I mean, what are we doing? Are we, So anyway, unity in motion is a non-exercise, because through the learning and the practice and the union of the movements,
Okay.
you are transforming the idea that you have to work your body into the reality that you are unifying yourself to actually experience the presence of your own being. And then when you do it, as I said, you merge it with everything. You don't have to practice anymore, but the practice will be fantastic, because you can teach it to someone if they want to, and they can help them. Or if something happens, you will have it forever. It's knowledge. Knowledge is something that you will always have it, because the mind that we are is made up of knowledge. So once the mind comprehends its own knowledge of unity, you will always have it. It will be the foundation of your life. And then it will be the aid, the mind, that it will help you to experience and be constantly in the free forms of ecstasy. Physical ecstasy, because you will be devoid of any sense of pain or pressure. Emotional ecstasy, because you will always be in the fabric of life, which is love. And then mental ecstasy, because you will understand the meaning of unity inside of all things, because all things were made for you to experience them inside of the field of unity. That's it.
So, Christian,
Yeah.
Nancy has a question. Unfortunately, you can only hear her on the phone, and I'm going to turn that on right now.
Okay, the divine Nancy. Wonderful. Thank you.
Right. To the divine Christian and everybody.
Oh, how lovely. We have a whatever it was. What was that?
Yes, Nancy, ask the question now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what you just said, okay, on the central crown and infinity. Oh, this is hard because I'm getting an echo.
Okay, now do it now.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So when you say this is the feeling, when you go to central crown, and it's a gesture, meaning the gesture is the whole connection to your entire field, right? That's
Yes.
the gesture.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
gesture at infinity is the feeling of the whole field, the central crown. So when you're eating dinner, you're making dinner or doing something in the moment, you can have those moments of feeling central crown, infinity, all of those things, even though you don't go there, you are already there.
Yes,
What you're saying?
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Everybody has agreed with that? Yeah. I mean, the agreement means that you understand. Yeah, Nancy, absolutely. All the connections, just what I said to you, that every connection of unity and motion self-contain, let's say for the first section, every connection self-contain all the other 18 in their own definition. Because it's always the metrics, it's always the union, and they are all in every connection, you have potentially the perfect connection of all the other 19 or 18, you may, because they're all flourish in 0-point balance. Yeah. So 0-point balance is the potential, which is the moment of your life right now. 0-point balance is the potential expression. And I say potential because you can go if you want to at any one moment, but they're already self-included in 0-point balance, because that's what you do. You become more and more knowledgeable, sensorially connected, and conceptually understanding the nature of your union with all things, which is called 0-point balance. And so you're always, so Nancy, yes, we all agree? Somebody can add anything else what she said? This is important because what she said, you're always connected to everything. Yeah.
So the study of unity and motion is what facilitates that connection all the time, so that it doesn't matter what you're doing or not doing.
Yes. Yeah, the study of unity and motion is actually the natural integration of your own being, uniting the three senses within yourself that had been the entire formation of yourself. There are three formations of my being as a human: a conceptual understanding or mental, yeah, because everything that we see is made up of mind; emotional, because everything that I see, I feel as well; and then physical, because it is actually the moment of life in which the whole physical existence exists, moving with everything. So they are the three worlds, yeah? Remember that in the evolutionary unfolding of our being, the moment that corresponded to the unity of the whole world was never ever present. We always lived in our own manifestation of what that moment was. So then therefore we innocently covered it up, or we occupy it with a mental, emotional, or physical form of coming and going, blah, 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 blah. But we were never fully present in the physical moment of life, the real moment, the moment of existence. So that's what happened with the harmonic conversion. We became, in one moment, we became all physically connected. But we don't know what that means because we never experienced that. We never had that idea. We always thought, I'm living this life, blah, 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 but it never was connected. So we are all reinstating our presence and our sense of self with the physical moment of life, which is actually the physical moment of the universe, which is also the physical moment of the whole of universal creation recreated itself in this moment, including myself. So for the first time, I'm in the voyage of universal existence, instead of just being in the little voyage inside of my little world and the planet, worrying, surviving, not having enough, completing, being complex. So all the complexity that seemingly appears in the physical world right now is nothing other than the release of an ancient story that have gotten innocently so much stories of beliefs, separations, dogmas, things that it never existed in the reality itself, and they're now becoming undone, evaporated, merging into the new consciousness. And it's very complex because for certain beings become very scary. The whole idea, maybe momentarily, that all the formations that you created to maintain your world are disappear disappearing inside of a new world that doesn't have that. It only has love, unity, unification, creation, a new world. We are all together. It's the world that all religions promise, but innocently could not live to it because the moment of physical existence was not reunited yet. So the spirit create all the traditions, and the philosophy create all the books and libraries and so forth, because the moment could not be lived. The real moment that everybody was talking about, it could not be lived. So we created those things, but now we are for the first time in the real moment. So all those things are becoming fulfilled and disappearing inside of the experience. So we are becoming actually free from the story, but also reuniting the story inside of our understanding, because nothing was wrong. It was the natural creation of its own longing for someday, somehow, return home. And now we're home. So there is nothing we can do about it. This is the way it is. You know what I mean? So we are all awakening home. That's happening.
Yay.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yay.
Okay, so are we good? Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
We're
so
good.
I can
We're
get out of
still
here.
good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Still good.
All right. Okay. All right. All right.
Yay.
So now I just want to tell you that I want you to now what I want you to do, if you can, when you have time, go through all those, one more time and go through. And I said, what is the gesture of this? What does this gesture mean? With this. So forget the word gesture. Well, whatever.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe another word will come. I don't want to use the word communion. You could use the word communion, but you can understand the communion is still a little bit like now become like religious something, and it's complex because all the language that we have to interpret the renewal are most of the time innocently encoded with some particular belief. So it cannot express what it is. It always takes us into a corner of the mind saying, oh my God, and we are not there, so you can't go there either. So we have to use the old language and find out, and maybe we create new words, or maybe not, or maybe we will redefine the word from inside of the unity, and then we are good. We're good. Okay, so I'm going to get out of there, go through all that, especially go through. So let me see. Just want to show you the one that we are right now, practice a little bit, like the one that is the fulfillment of the three senses of self. This one is a very, very wonderful, because this is the one that we're working at it right now. And these are the three senses of the self. This is wonderful. This is suspended balance. And suspended balance is the union of the three spirals. Remember the spiral of moving heart, the second spiral that transforms itself into the third spiral that becomes suspended balance. And the same is here. The expansion becomes the beginning of the spiral that takes you to moving heart, and then the spiral begins to go down into the floor, and going to touching balance is a little bit more subtle, because the third part of the spiral makes sure that this area of the spine in touching balance doesn't get closed down. It doesn't get contracted when you touch the floor. Because if that area, if it happened, it happened, of course. But when you become aware of it, if that area can naturally elongate itself, even though you're touching the floor, you are inside of a circle here, the circle that it will bring you back from here to entering foundation, and then offering expansion, which will be this one, right here. So this is the opening of that particular point. This is the opening right here of this particular suspended balance. It's the opening of everything, but it gets manifested at this particular place, actually in here, because it releases the lower back, and it releases the thoracic vertebra, it releases the neck, it releases the head, and it connects you through it. And then that creates then circling foundation, and circling foundation that it takes you to foundation, and then becomes offering foundation, offering self, offering infinity, offering heaven, this one, which is the whole release. Yeah, and the whole release becomes gravity, becomes this particular moment, because then the whole extension balances the descending spring, and you're always inside of a circle. because if you are not inside of the circle, you can't come back. You have to grab the skeleton to bring it back. So when you are always inside of the sphere, it means that you never have to grab yourself to return, because you're always inside of the path of return. And that's the reason that it's so important to understand it, because then if I'm always in the path of return, in which going and coming is always connected, then the whole system works completely, constantly like a flower. It's always like it's the fountain, always inside of the fountain. And then the muscles are connected to each other. But beyond that, all the organs of the body, all the organs, the heart, the livers, the pancreas, every single organ is inside of the system itself, in which they're all giving each other the natural manifestation of energy that correspond to the movement of life. So then the systems are not saying, give me this, taking that and that. There is no, inside of the system, the fabric of life of the physical body, there is no compensation. There is no way that one system doesn't work together. They're all in a perfect block, in a poor system. And so it's not just the physical body and the muscles and the ligaments and the bone, all the organs of your being, which correspond to the entire formation of your brain, or my brain, that they are all manifesting together in this beautiful design called human, from which I was designed to be able to tell you the words that I'm telling you. We were designed to be able to come back and fulfill the voyage, to really bring the whole of humanity and ourselves, just like the very nature of being, into the new world, which is a fantastic new world, a fantastic creation, a fantastic paradigm. Okay, so fantastic. I'm getting out of here. I'm sorry. Wonderful. We're good. So anyway, just go back to them a little bit and spend time with this now.
Christian, you're going to have to go down.
Oh my God, I forgot completely.
You have to go up and say stop share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you for telling me, because I was getting out of everything. All right, so are we good? So let's just spend 2 seconds together and then let's work in motion for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Do you, anything else?
So you need to back up, and Christian,
Yeah.
so we can see you.
I'll go, oh, what should I do?
No, you're fine where you are. You're going to back up so we can see you.
Yeah, I'm going to create the chair. Okay.
Yeah.
So wonderful. I want you to before we start, I want you to make sure that you now, I'm talking about for years and years and years and years, to find the chair within you that correspond to your real height. Then maybe you don't need to put pillows. So go to any junk store. You can go to a place in Santa Barbara. We can go to any place and buy a chair for $10, and they have hundreds of chairs, and you can get the chairs that correspond to your own height, and that is fantastic, because then you can use it for your practice. If you are really at the right height, which means that you are connected to the floor at the same time that you're connected to your length, that means that you're done. You're perfect, because then in the floor and everything, you have the floor, but in the chair it's important. Yeah, wonderful. And it means that you are sensing the floor, but you are not under the floor by going under the chair, or you're not too high that you went to the other side of the back because you don't have the floor. So the height of the chair will determine the definition of your 0 point. So make sure that you get a fantastic chair. $10, you can buy it. And then paint it gold and yellow and blue, and put a wonderful material. Just make it your throne, because in Unity in Motion, you are the queen and the queen, or the king, whatever you are. You know what I mean? So make the queen chair or the king chair, and just know that that's the place that you are practicing your kingdom. Okay? All right, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm sorry, I may have to change the Mary Pat just as we're getting closer. Oh, I leave this chair here.
You can leave that there. Yeah.
Yeah, because
And then we'll just look at you there.
okay.
No, move it back. Christian, move it back to where it was.
I need to move the camera, but I don't know if you will be able to see it.
No, that's fine. Right there is good.
Okay, all right. So Mary Pat, you asked me, what is the difference between the definition of mandala crown and crown, right?
In
Yeah.
the eyes. I want to see how the eyes really,
Okay.
exactly where they go.
In mandala crown, the eyes are really action. and mandala crown, no, excuse me, and crown, the eyes are really, really on the horizontal plane.
Okay, that's what I
But,
thought.
but it's like a 1 millimeter above the horizontal plane when you add meaning to it, you know? Otherwise, it's just mechanic, you know what I mean? So when we think about gesture, then if we add gesture, you bring in yourself to the moment. Let's put it that way. The meaning of gesture means that you bring in yourself to the moment. Shall we define it from now on? That's what I mean when I mean gesture.
Yeah,
That's a good definition, right? Bringing yourself to the moment.
yes,
So in life, you're always bringing yourself to the moment. So you are a consecutive forms of gestures, and they are all benign, beautiful, wonderful, fantastic, because you will not behave in any other way, right? You're never going to get angry. You're not going to get upset. You're not going to project doom. You're always in creation. So you're done already. Okay, so the crown becomes the definition of the vertical extension. Yeah, and crown, remember, is the celebration of the fountain of life. Crown, yeah, light and crown are the same. Yeah. Now, mandala crown follow the inner trajectory of descending from expansion to the foundation. So foundation, it changed completely my vision. You see what it is? My vision is right here, right? Actually, this will be the plane of my shoulder. This is the plane of my eyes. And then if you be mechanical, it will be a perfect robotic. If I put feeling, here I am. So it means that I am inside of the inner arc, and everything within myself comes from foundation. That's a mandala crown, foundation, and earth means that they are all expressions of the accentuation, if you may, or the physical sensation of your physical body. Sensation, I don't know the word, the physical body, as interconnect to love, which is always the connection to the heart, and as a connect to space, which is always three-dimensionally embrace me, always as the speed of life. Yeah. So that clarifies it a little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe shall we do it a little bit now? Let's go. Let's practice outflowing wave. Free inflowing and outflowing waves. And let's do the inner outer mandala, so we can really practice expansion and navigation and get to mandala crown, which is the moment in which we're encircling the sphere of earth to return to foundation and complete and crown. Let's do it together. Let's do free and free. It's okay? Let's do it. One. Remember that the definition of 0 point, in 0 point, you either in 0 point at the moment itself, which it will be the true vertical, remember that I said to you, or you are in a receptive state, which is you are inside of 0 point balance, from which you begin the inflowing wave. Yeah. So Mary Pat, it's clear when you just are in 0 point as the definition of the moment itself, right here, yeah, right here. You know what I mean? And then 0 point as you are in the receptivity of the meaning of 0 point, from which you begin the wave. Yeah, lovely. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. I'm sorry. 5, 6. I'm going to start from the moment of receptivity, 0 point right here, and then we're going to start encircling the wave to go to foundation in order to do the inflowing wave. Yeah, 6, 7, and 8. Inflowing wave, 2, 3, foundation, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the last one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1. Now I'm going to go to the inner, to the outer. 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1. My range of vision. 2, 3. Here are mandala crown. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2. I'm going to do it again. 3 and 4. Inflowing wave. 2, 3 and 4. Ascending through centers. 2, 3, infinity. 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. Mandala crown. Circling the earth. 2, 3 and 4. Outflowing wave. And we do it one last time. 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. Mandala crown. 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm going to crown myself to 0 point. Remember crowning yourself. You go to 0 point. That's the point I want to start it. How was that? Good? Clear a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, it's a practice. You have to practice. Now, remember that I don't say when we go inflowing wave, and then I don't say central suspended wave, descending, ascending, because by the time I said those things, I would always be behind. But you know very well that the most important thing that when you're encircling Earth, you touch in suspended balance before descending, ascending, yeah, in order to get to go to crown. So I take it for granted that you are integrating the suspended balance that connects the inflowing wave to foundation. Yeah, and the reason that is so important, because if I don't touch suspended balance, biomechanically, I can't descend and ascend. I just bring my arms down. And I need to descend and ascend in order to keep the fabric constantly united inside of its own motion. Are we clear with that then? Clear? Beautiful. Lovely. Let's do since we are in the chair, let's do the inflowing wave, and then let's go to the release of foundation. Yeah, so from the inflowing wave, we get foundation, we're raising the energy, suspended heart, there's the second spiral, and then we're gonna ride to the third spiral. This is 1, 2, and then encircling back, 3 and 4, and the offering itself to bring us into mandala, into crown, yeah, fantastic. Shall we do that together? Are you okay? Beautiful. Make sure when you are practicing a chair that you are seated in the center of your seated bones, because if you are not clear, your lower back is going to start giving you problems. Yeah, so you have to make sure that you are at the center of the seated bones, so then your lower back is mobile inside of the seated, so you're not military style. So we're going together, inflowing wave, ascending through centers, which will be the release of going. Let's do outflowing. We're going to inflowing wave, outflowing wave, crown, encircling earth, coming to foundation, and then releasing the whole movement into it. Let's do the whole motion so it doesn't become confused. So the whole motion is inflowing wave. Excuse me, the definition of earth, and then the release of earth and foundation. Am I confusing you? Yeah. Again, inflowing wave, I'm going to, which is foundation, then earth, the definition of earth, and then the release of earth and foundation become the spiral of the heart, the second spiral, and the third spiral, just the whole release of suspended balance, bring me back into foundation, and then the offering itself, that it takes me all the way up to ground. Yeah, so let's do it together from the beginning. We'll do it together, and if we do it a second time, I have to go back to the speed of earth and foundation. Okay. 6, 7, and 8. Inflowing wave, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go to ground, yeah, in order to the definition of earth, right here. And then the release of earth and foundation becomes the spiral, taking to suspend the heart, that will take me to the second spiral, the complete spiral in the third. It brings me back into foundation, and the ribbon is taking me all the way into crown. And I will do it again. inflowing wave, suspend the balance, foundation. I define earth. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the release of foundation and earth. 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. One last time. 1, 2, 3 and 4. I define earth. Wow, wonderful. 1, the release of earth and foundation. 3 and 4, ascending. Center the spiral. Suspend.
Christian,
Yeah, go ahead, Danny. I'm
you're
sorry.
supposed to go, we define earth and then we go back and we do earth again, and then we go into the spiral.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I kept on wondering why I was behind you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So shall we do it again? It's okay. So
Yeah.
sometimes I just did it that way in order to practice, but it's better to do it the way it is, so you have it. So you don't get confused. So the idea is that you're going to define earth first time, and then you come back to foundation, and then the second time that you define earth, that's the time that you release earth and foundation, and you go through the entire spiral. Yeah, it's okay. I will meet together. Shall we do it? Okay. Remember, I don't know if you noticed that I'm always changing my feet a little bit in the floor and the chair, because what happens is as I open the centers and I become more expanded in my movement, then the sensation of the floor changes because I'm more on top of the floor at the same time that I'm going through the floor. So I want you to pay attention to that detail in your feeling. Okay, we're going together. So start 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1 and 2, 3, and 4. Unfolding the sphere. Earth. Inflowing wave. 2, 3, and 4. The second time. Sphere. And now the sphere, which is the foundation of myself, ascend to center, suspend the heart, second spiral. This is 1, 2, the third spiral, returning 3 and 4, the ribbon, the radius of the circle, crown. I'm going to do it again. Inflowing wave, 2, 3, and 4, releasing earth. The speed of earth, 2, 3, and 4, the third one, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the release, suspended wave, the second spiral. Now the third complete spiral, returning back into foundation, opening self, and arriving to crown.
Christian, can you? I'm confused now.
Hold on a second.
I remember it being we go sphere of earth and we come back to foundation. We come back to foundation, and then we define sphere of earth, and then we encircle to suspended heart, and insert. It's the spiral to suspended heart, right? And then it's the second spiral, and then coming out, right? Or am I wrong?
It completed itself in the third spiral. So we completed itself in the third spiral.
Okay.
Let me see. Do you need me to show it to you closer to you on the camera?
I guess so.
Yeah, because
I'm missing something. I'm confused about the sequence, I guess. I don't know.
Can you see me from here?
Yeah, I can see
completely. No? Are you okay?
Yeah, but maybe if you tilt the camera down a little bit, I'll be able to see more of you.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. But I suggest that whenever you stop next time, wait to complete the motion, and then we'll stop.
Okay.
Don't stop in the middle of the motion because everybody goes a little crazy. So anyway, I think it's better. But the energy, I don't know if you need to see me from the side, to see more from the side than from the thing.
Yeah.
I'll do it from the side. I'm not going to be perfect because I'm not going to change the chair. Okay?
That's perfect.
I don't know.
It's
Okay.
just fine. Just there.
Okay, from here, I'm going to define Earth, and then from the definition of Earth, I'm going to go directly into the release, okay? Or should I do the whole motion as it is? I'll do the whole motion as it is.
Thanks.
7 and 8. Inflowing wave, suspended balance, 3. And 4, the definition of Earth, right here.
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, and 4, the definition of sphere, right there. And now, coming to foundation, and in the first spiral, this is the moving heart, right? This is the moving heart, This is the second spiral. Now, this is the completion of the third spiral, right there. And now I'm returning back into foundation. And now the whole radius of the circle, they're taking me to ground.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just confused because there's a station or a gesture that's called suspended heart. It's not moving heart, it's actually suspended heart.
Suspended heart, I'm sorry, right here, yeah? But
Yeah.
remember the suspended heart, when you go to the infinity, for example, right? When you go to infinity, you're extending through the centers to go to infinity. And you go higher and maybe a little bit back as you start going into the outer arc. Yeah, when you open that, you go a little bit back to go to the outer arc. When you go to the release of foundation, you don't do that. You just go from the center and you start bringing the center forward a little
Right.
bit. And then when you bring the center forward, you touch the heart, which is right here. And then the touching of the heart becomes the second spiral, which is right
Okay.
here. And it
Yeah.
completely starts into the third spiral. which is
Okay,
right
great.
here. And then it
Thank
brings you back. And then it creates the whole radius of the circle that it takes you to ground.
All right, beautiful.
And the
Thank
free
you.
spirals are, the reason that those free spirals occur is to avoid the shoulder girdle to press upon your spine. Because if the shoulder girdle start pressing upon your spine, by the time you get to suspended balance, you're going to get your spine contracted. You are not going to be able to extend through all of the vertebrae. So the spirals keep the shoulder girdle in the same structural formation of the movement on top of the spine, so that you never get to close the neck of the spine and you get to return through the energy. Because if you're innocently, when you get to here, you can contract the spine, you can't come back. You don't have any way to come back. You have to grab the arms and bring yourself back. So the suspended balance bring you back as a result of the shoulder girdle and the spirals always suspending the movement at the same time that you're moving in a space.
Okay.
Always suspending the movement. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, beautiful. Are you good? Beautiful. Beverly, so then what happened, Beverly, in the beginning, you're learning the spiral, right? You're learning the spiral. The first spiral is in the suspended heart, right here, the first half. The second spiral is suspending the shoulder and your chest in your neck. And then the third spiral, it allows you to extend through your neck completely, so your neck doesn't go down or doesn't go forward. So the neck is completely free when you get to the suspended diamond, the suspended balance, so you can come back from the whole spine. Yes, so you're doing it right now. But then as you practice, you're going to start adding this area of the neck right here in the last moment of the movement.
I hurt my back yesterday. Do you think these three releases will help it?
Oh, absolutely. Very gentle. Just do the free releases very gently. It will be fantastic. So shall we do the free releases together now?
Yeah.
Let's do together, and then we do a sitting and we do a standing, because
Yeah.
then it's time is coming together. But yes, believe me, darling, the most important thing is that whenever we get to in any form of injury, the first sensation is that you want it protected and not moving. But if you just go very, very gently, almost marking in that sense, almost marking to start moving the area that it became injured, it will repair itself, because once it enters the fabric, the entire fabric will repair the place in which seemingly is the actual injury. The fabric will open it up, And then when everything is like a parachute, an omnidirectional parachute, that when it opens itself inside of your body, it will take away the pressure of the nervous system that's creating the pain. It's the nervous system.
The same time I hurt my back, I got this flu, and
It's okay. It's all a divine thing. That means that you get to take care of yourself, because remember, you're always
I
doing
haven't been sick.
1,000 things all the time.
I
Yeah.
haven't been sick for so long.
I
This is
know.
the-
So the
and in
reason
your-
is-
I listened to your recording and it said, "Oh, you're in the flow. I never get sick." And I thought, what happened?
well, what happens that you're very possible you're innocently, or maybe who knows. There are 2 or 3 reasons that you could get sick. You know, one reason is that maybe you are doing too many things and you left yourself behind. So then you needed to catch up with yourself. Second is that perhaps you needed to get sick in order to take away toxins out of your system to be able to repair it quickly and become more and more connected. And
Yeah.
third is for you just to even to go to a state of actually relaxation and receive the energy. And when you, by the time you get again to feel good, you will feel much better than when you feel before good. You're going to feel much stronger, much better, and good forever. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, shall we do it
Excellent, thank
together?
you.
Then let's do it. Let's do it together in a chair, the free releases, and let's do a standing, the free releases. Okay? Let's go. Oh, you prefer to do it standing now? Are you okay, Mary Pat? Are you okay in the chair?
One more time.
One more time? Okay. Yeah, one more time. I'm going to need to move the chair back. No.
No, you're good where you are.
Okay. All right. Remember that when you practice one movement, if you bring in the whole of yourself to the practice, it's like you're practicing the 5 sections. It's not like this movement and then the 5 sections. The 5 sections is all to really activate certain areas of your skeleton to bring it into the fabric of life. But then once you become united, one movement will take you to all of the movement, like the same of what connection shall contain the 90 connections. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Define expanding earth. 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The second time. 2, 3, 1, 2. And now the release. 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. Crown. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Earth, riding the wave, riding to expansion. Descending. 2, 3. Mandala crown. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Earth. Wave, expansion, the spiral of the heart, taking me to suspended heart, and then taking me to the second spiral. And now I have to be very careful because I'm going to arrive to the floor. I count 2 when my heart opens. 4, 2, and then 3 and 4, the ribbon. And now to be every corner of the space, arriving to expansion. And then you're descending. 2, 3, mandala crown. 1, 2, 3, and 4, unfolding. I made a mistake, right? 3.
No?
I'm going to heaven. 2, 3, and 4. Extending all the way, opening heaven, touching expansion, touching mandala crown, inflowing waves, suspended that wave, ascending, ascending, unfolding earth, riding the wave all through the center. Extending, circling the heart. Oh my God, here we are now, entering all the way. The spiral begins out, it connects to the heart right there. And now it's this big, big, big spiral that passes through me and arrive at 3 and 4. And that's the swinging spirals. And now encircling the spiral, came into foundation. They take me to another spiral. There is the coming to heaven, expanding heaven, connecting to expansion, descending all through the centers, arriving to mandala crown. Take me, I'm going to do this one more time because it's a very important one. Unfolding to earth, riding the wave, unfolding heaven. Wow. Now here, entering one all the way, the big spiral connecting to the heart. That's here. And now I have 6 counts. This is 4, 2, 3, all the way up. 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, infinity. 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to crown myself into the seated 0 point to complete the motion. That was good. That was lovely. Okay, how was that? I think that you're getting digested when you get to infinity, heaven. You have, it's an enormous opening from heaven. Look, from heaven, from here. Look, you have all the diagonals to go before you come into the suspended heart, before you go to the last spiral. Exactly, right there. That's it, Nancy. That's it. Now the second spiral, right there. Yay, absolutely. And then ascent, suspense. Yeah, wonderful. That's good. Beautiful. That's it, Ellen. Beautiful. Right there. Good. And now connecting. Go, 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 go. Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Good. Yeah, I think that you're going too much forward when you're going to expansion. You have to be careful that when you're in infinity, open through it, but don't go so much forward that you're outside and the back. Come through the centers of your being. So when you're right to expansion, you are at the level of horizon. Really, perfect, exactly. The level of horizon. And Mary Pat, you'll discover that when you get to the level of horizon, if you add 1 millimeter of gesture, you will be even more in horizon. You know what I mean? Because you're bringing yourself to the moment every time that you arrive the gesture. So remember that we're using the gesture is by, what was the definition? The word that we use, the gesture being the coming into yourself. Sorry.
Bringing the self to the moment, I think it was.
Bringing yourself to
the moment was a gesture. I think
the gesture, bringing yourself. No, coming. It doesn't matter. You will get it. But that was a perfect definition before that we did. Bringing yourself to the moment is, but that becomes something else. The gesture means that you bringing yourself to it. That's it. You're not even to the moment. Bringing yourself comes into the moment. Yeah, you become present with it. Exactly. So the gesture becomes every time that in Earth, for example, when you complete Earth right here, that's the moment that yourself comes inside of the circle of the Earth. The circle of the Earth has an extraordinary importance because remember that the Earth inside of me is my mother, the physical form of all life, the 4 mothers. They're all included in this particular moment. Can you imagine the whole planet Earth, the entire physical form is included in this instant in which I am the planet? Because the planet, I am made up of the planet, right? You know that I'm made up of the planet. It's the physical form. Beautiful, fantastic. That's it, Mary Pat. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful. Okay, so then are we good? That's fantastic. So one last thing, I would like to do it instantly one time now. The free releases, and then we let it be. Nancy, you did go very good. You did it good. Nancy, it creates pain in the upper back when you do the release forward into the release of heaven. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, Nancy cannot hear me. No, it's okay.
I'm not going to do the call thing right now.
That's the Nancy, forget. Because what happened is Nancy is extending herself. What happened right now, that Nancy, you are incorporated the release of heaven. What happened after the second spiral right here? Now you are incorporating the entire vertebrae of your spine all the way through when you arrive to infinity. So the whole spine extends inside of all of the vertebrae in that. So it's an extraordinary release for the entire formation of the spine, the heaven release. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, let's do it. And then we'll stop because I'm going over time. I'm sorry. Wonderful. Okay. I'm sorry, more chair out. Lovely.
Okay.
0-point balance. Right here. On that. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Gathering the wave. 2, 3, and 4. Defining. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The second definition of verb. Right here. And now the release of earth and foundation. 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Define the earth, right wave, right expansion, navigation, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Earth riding the wave, all chest opening, releasing expansion, arriving to suspended heart, ascending all the way to touch balance, coming back into foundation, encircling foundation, all the way through, offering expansion. Yeah, wow, beautiful, descending, lovely, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, earth expansion, encircling the heart, heaven, and opening heaven. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Encircling the wave. 3 and 4. Unfolding earth. Getting to expansion the wave. Continue with the way to heaven. Now, this is the moment. I'm going, wow, entering infinity, encircling the heart. 3 and 4. And now I have 4 counts to extend. 2, 3, and 4. Swinging the styles. 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm going to complete very gently.
Christian, is that last movement to heaven? The last, when you bring it up?
It goes to heaven.
I thought you
Yeah, it
said
goes
that
to
we can
heaven
only
and it
go to
starts-
heaven from here.
Except for this movement.
It goes to heaven, right?
Got it.
It's heaven, expanding heaven, the level of infinity, open to infinity, touching expansion, descending through. Yeah. But ask,
You go to heaven, but you're opening through infinity, and that's how that works.
Oh,
the reason, darling, it goes to heaven, but that is a moving connection, heaven, because if you're trying to stop in heaven, you will contract. So it's just an instant that it becomes expanded heaven, and then at the level of infinity it becomes the outer mandala. And then
It's also because we're coming from the floor up.
Yeah.
If we're just coming from foundation up, we wouldn't go to heaven. But because we're coming from the floor and we have that whole movement and the momentum, it can carry us to heaven.
Oh, that's
thank you.
Yeah. Otherwise, if we just go to heaven without the momentum, by the time you get to heaven, you will be all shrunk into your neck and shoulders, and you will lose the connection. And all this spiraling that you're doing in your arms is giving you muscle tone. Remember that I want you to continuously massage your muscle, because I need you to really, think about your body as being like a tree. Of course, it is a tree, the tree of life. So the branches of the tree is your arms, of course. So that all the muscles are coming from your heart and braiding into all the way to your neck and your head. So begin to see your body as a formation of a beauty, just connect to it. Yeah. Whatever, it will come to you. Once you enter the field, your mind will tell you, do this, do that. And remember that you are not doing it for vanity. You're doing it because the natural formation of your design of being human is perfect. You were created perfect. That's it. And you are perfect. Okay, so are we good? We're good, no? Beautiful. Remember that we used the word, we incorporated that word, and we don't know if we keep it, the connection, the gesture, and what the gesture is coming into yourself. Yeah, bringing the gesture, bringing yourself to the connection. So it's not like, okay, here I am. It's not, an exercise makes the physical thing, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know, and here you're constantly adding to the connection and to the path, the meaning, which is the actual existence of your being. There is nothing more beautiful than the meaning of yourself. Can you imagine? You are the most beautiful creature in the world. Everything that you do have meaning. If you have something that you are not have meaning, stop and find the meaning to do it. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, we need to go.
Yeah, I wanted to say one thing to Bev.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say one thing to Bev. You know, I know you're sick today and you may not feel that well, but you look so soft and you look just like an angel. So,
Thank you. I needed that. I
It's true.
can't even tell you. It's like, should I go to the doctor? Should I stay home? Should I do this? And I feel terrible. Oh, and the next thing, do I need a COVID test? You know,
need
but
what?
for you to say that a COVID test,
Oh,
you know,
no,
in
you're not.
Pittsburgh.
But if you do, I can give it to you, but I can't give it to you.
So
No, I have
Nancy
to.
is saying, oh, sorry.
It's all right.
But thank you. I needed that, Carol.
Okay.
really.
it's
Nancy is saying that the gestures correspond, is what she said.
Yeah, absolutely. I just really have to loosen my back up.
Yeah,
And
The gesture is the appearance of yourself. Yeah.
ah,
Because yourself is the appearance of yourself. The gesture is the appearance of yourself. And all the connection is the appearance. And they all have meaning because there is a part of you that you're always open. The 7 centers are extraordinary. The first 3 is everything, like Nancy said. But then the throat, it is the meaning of everything because it's the moment itself, it's the word, it's everything. And the feeling, the heart, balance, beauty, and self, it is an extraordinary reality. And then whole nature is all there is. So they are all parts of your being that you're bringing it forward and incorporated in the wholeness of yourself. So then it's your nature, your love, which is nothing more beautiful than your love because you are love. Yeah, you know, and then your intellect, you know, intellect in the best sense of the word, not the intellect of knowing things like that, but the intellects that actually understand it as all things. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So anyway.
during the class tonight, there was a rainstorm, really, really bad here. And then my sister texted me and she said, go look outside. There was a double rainbow over the
Oh, I love
house.
it.
It was
Fantastic.
absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely fantastic. All right, so are we good? We good? Don't forget,
Thank
if you
you.
have that time, go to
Isabel,
the-
so good to see you, Isabel.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Lois, it's so good to see you. And Isabel, we haven't seen you.
Isabella, it's so lovely to have you in class,
Nancy.
Isabella. You're always, just by being around us, as always, even when you're not around us, you're always present with us. But when you're present, it makes a big difference.
Adrian,
Thank you, all of us. Adrian, we love you. We love you, everybody.
bye-bye.
Nancy, you're doing fantastic. I adore you. I'm saying goodbye. Ciao. I'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Love you all too.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Remember to write stories and tell me everything. Ciao, Lynn.
I need a book
Ciao.
if I write.